to go to get the word. And the idea behind this group is preserving future family farmers in the county. And, you know, for those of you that have farmed, bought land, all those things, there's a passion that goes along with that. And the idea is to be able to preserve it and make it viable for the generations to come. That's the goal. That's what we have to do. And it's not an easy job. And what we've done here with this group is brought everybody together. And when I say everybody, it means all of the different agricultural groups in the county. Berries, potatoes, and dairy, beef cattle, we've got everybody we're talking to. So that's the important piece. So when we do have an audience, I'll get talking about it in a minute. When we go to talk to people, we can be all those groups, all that acreage, all that, the power that comes with that. So those of you that aren't from Whatcom County and you have challenges where you live or where you do business, I think that this is a good format to use. We are relatively new in our format, in our formation, but as I show a little bit later in this presentation, we're making headway and people are hearing us. As you can tell, I'm not a standstill mic guy, so you'll have to keep moving with me. But I do have like 5 videos that have been very, very well done. I could just play videos, but Scott wanted me to talk too, so I'm going to keep moving through here. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the structure because I don't want people to be confused between the format of Whatcom Family Farmers, which is a C3 and a C5, and then the Ag Water Board. How many people have heard about the Ag Water Board, the Water Improvement Districts and Ag Water Board in the county? Okay, that is a huge piece of this as well. Henry's involved with that. Anybody that's in agriculture and has the format for Ag Water Board and the WIDs, if you have more than 3 to 5 acres, you're in an ag zone, you pay into this. So the Ag Water Board, you can see below the red line, we have those different water improvement districts. I don't have the map, which kind of explains it better, but those are the water improvement districts down below. Some of them are new, some of them have been around for a few years. The Ag Water Board is a group of people made up of those WIDs. I'm on a couple of them because we own land there. Everybody that owns land has the opportunity. And we need fresh people involved with that, so we're going to be visiting with folks to get them more involved. Ag Water Board is the voice for that group, and then you can see the red line across there. Then we've got Whatcom Family Farmers above, and you can see the different seed potato, dairy, berry, cattle, Farm Bureau group. We started with the 3 to the left. That's where we spent most of our time organizing. We're moving over to the right with the cattle and the Farm Bureau. And you can see the makeup of the people on the board. So we try to be diversified. Dairy is a huge piece of agriculture in the county, and we have to capture that. So there's a very big presence of the dairy group there. 2 ex officios. We just lost one of our shining stars, Chuck Anholt, that was a professor at Western Washington University. Sad to see him go. It's a big loss for our community because he lived on Lummi Island and taught at Western. Great guy. And so we'll be reaching out to fill his role, which he would want us to do that. So you can see the C5 and the C3 above. That gives you a basic idea how it's set up. So we're well diversified and have a number of different voices. So I think I've got a video here, and it gives you a basic idea. So this video is done by Gerald Barron, who is our PR guy, and Jason Courtheis. So enjoy this video.
Water, a necessity for all of life, and for growing the food to sustain life. Where there is no water, there is no food. Having water to farm is no longer certain. That's true around the world, such as in East India. It's true with diminished aquifers in the Midwest, and most certainly true in the western United States, where much of the nation's food is grown. In Whatcom County, we're blessed with an abundance of water to go with our rich farmland. Seasonal rains and floods refill our aquifers, river, and streams to overflowing. There is more than enough water for farming, for our cities, and to provide great and improving habitat for fish. But that doesn't mean we will have the water we need for farming. Why? Why, when there is more than enough water, would farmers have to worry about whether or not their farms will have the water to grow crops and feed their animals? There are two reasons: tribal treaty rights relating to fish, and the use of water as a weapon against farmers by a few anti-farm activists waving the environmental banner. Who decides who gets the water? Judges and our government leaders, both elected and non-elected. Tribal treaty rights are an understandable and primary concern of both judges and government leaders. Accusations of environmental damage, true or not, also strongly influence judges and leaders. But politicians and even judges are subject to public opinion. For example, in the United States Supreme Court, decisions on race, abortion, marriage, and others clearly reflect changing public attitudes. So what can we do to make certain farmers have water to farm? Knowing the critical importance of what the public thinks is the starting point. We have to do a much better job informing our community and elected leaders of the need for water for farming. We must also work in partnership with local tribal leaders. We need to show our tribal neighbors we are serious about opening the shellfish beds, about in-stream flows, about protecting water quality, and about improving habitat. We need to help them secure their treaty rights. Farmers don't have control over water quality alone, nor the return of salmon stocks. But by working together, tribal leaders and family farmers can be much more effective at addressing all sources of water contamination and other impacts on fish. By working together, we will get more than cleaner water and restored fisheries. We will have the support of our government leaders as we work together to make certain the water is not just clean, but available for farmers to grow food and keep their farms going. This is not an easy path, but we know that the vast majority of the public stands behind us. They want food. They want us to farm. We have not had the impact in government that our support should give us, because we have allowed those few, very loud, very active opponents to be the only voices heard. No more. The farmer's voice will be heard, and much more than that, the voice of the 80% from both parties who support farmers in our state must be heard. That is the task ahead of us. We have shown what can be done when we stand together and start speaking up. There are some who don't like that, some who are hoping we will stay quiet and our unity will disappear. To them, together we say, you haven't seen anything yet.
So pretty cool video. And that's what, you know, when you have a group like this, you can bring people on like Gerald Barron, who's great, amazing at putting those things together. That was his voice, and then Jason Courtheis. So thanks to them. And I just want to run you through some of our advocacy work that we've been doing. Fred Lickel, who is our executive director, probably would be doing this and be doing a better job than me, but he is working on negotiations with our friends at the Lummi tribe, and that process on water quality is taking a lot of his time right now. He was talking to 2 lawyers this morning, just getting advice. And the cool thing I will say is that in this kind of a situation, whatever storms we encounter down the road, with this kind of a group, like those lawyers that Fred's talking to, getting that advice on, it's a united front on who's paying those bills. And I know my family has had some challenges, and we had to pay that whole thing ourselves. So keep that in mind. Other thing, opposition to the CAFO permit, which is a big thing in the dairy world. Responses and fact checks on local activists calling for water metering. And you guys probably saw some of the billboards up anti-farming billboards in the county. Well, look now, and there's actually some pro-farming billboards in the county. It's pretty cool. There's one, I think, right out here on the street, a couple in Bellingham, and a couple on the guides. So we decided to, hey, why can't we do that? People need to understand where their food comes from, and we need to be telling our own story. Done some really neat tours, getting our political leaders out. We'll have more of that. We hired a person to be able to help us implement that. We have just one full-time, we have Gerald and 2 part-time people working. So creation of the fish farms and families policy. A lot of this stuff is over at our booth. So if you're curious, you can stop by and take a look. That is a policy statement. There's a lot in there. Gerald is awesome at putting that stuff together, and he gives us the format to be able to provide everything that we're going to be looking at. And then the critical area ordinance and the comp plan. So media efforts, Gerald is, like I said, we really appreciate, it's a blessing to have him on board with us. He's always looking at things out there that we need to comment on. Rich Apple Farms, if you've had any of his cheese, he spends a ton of time with Gerald talking about things. He's the chair of that committee. We've done a bunch of videos. You're going to see one more here in a minute. I think I'm pretty jazzed up about how those look. Media stories, editorials we have, and just the idea, it's one voice, it's all farming. A media fact check group too. So we're doing this, some of these things for you guys. Educational efforts. The Whatcom Farm Circle event a few weeks ago was a big success here with the kids, trying to show them where their food comes from. And then hopefully that word gets out to their parents as well. It's so easy in this world to go to the grocery store. There's always food there. You take it for granted. We all do. So we have to be able to continue to connect those dots. And as we move through, that's one of our goals too. The Sea Feast event in Bellingham, that was a real success. Karen Steensma spent a bunch of time there. Rich Apple was there, I believe, and trying to reach out to that community to the south of us that we need to connect better to. Presentations at several community groups. This is an example of that, even though you guys like us. So 2017 outlook, we're still working on the organization. We're excited about what we've done, but we've got work to do. I think the big thing we're working on is water quality negotiations with the Lummi tribe, making sure that we're staying at the table. That's the important thing. We don't always like the way it is when we leave the room, but we're making headway, and it's going well. But that's, like I said, there's not 30 of us, so Fred is there working on those types of things. He's an expert in that, and working with the dairy farmers locally to get that thing figured out. Continuing the media piece, countering false accusations, making sure that things are true, educate the non-farm public, promote environmental stewardship, and then build active public support. So you can see the circle. We need to keep working that, and we need to do it. It needs to be our voice, and it needs to be one voice. I think I have another video here. I do. I don't. Did I start over? Chris, why'd you do that? At least you're not shooting at me like they were in the raspberry meetings this morning. Yeah, I just messed up how I went. Farming anywhere, we run against challenges. For my family, when I look back at some challenges that we've been through with some government agencies, I just wish we would have had Whatcom Family Farmers back then. And it could have provided us with resources, folks to talk to, and most importantly, one voice for thousands of acres and different commodities that can support each other. We need to stand together and work together, regardless of what you're producing. And when we do, we're one voice.
Farmers have to work together to help change the perception in the community. There's such value in knowing that we have each other's back and that we collectively are working together to better our community and continue agriculture in Whatcom County.
Well, there's a lot of misperceptions about dairy farms and how they all work. You know, along with other berries and potatoes and all the other stuff that's grown around here. If we all come together, we come together with a bigger voice instead of just one farm saying, well, this is what we do. It's just a little bit better perceived, I guess, coming from a bunch of different farms all working together.
We've always seen that the more people stick together, the more you have one voice, the stronger you are. And that's definitely the case in farming. The opposition that's coming against farmers in any agriculture industry is usually from lack of knowledge. And getting the people that need the knowledge about what we do and how we do it is very important.
Disinformation can get spread just as quickly as good information. And the good information probably should come from us as farmers, but we're all too busy farming. We want to just do our job. We don't want to be seen in public and all that kind of stuff. So we need now to tell our story and to defend our agricultural practices and what we do so that the next generation will have it and then a following generation.
It's really a privilege to have the ability to live this life. It's certainly not been easy, you know, but man, is it worth it? Yes, it is worth it each and every day.
So if I ever go into substitute teaching, I think the students will like me because I'll just show movies the whole time. But you know, when we talked about building that, we built it for we had a rally a couple weeks ago here at the Expo building, and we really wanted to be have it be an emotional connection with people. And it did that to me. Every time I see it, it does that. And it wasn't supposed to be doing it to the speaker, but I've recovered and I can talk now. But that's, I mean, so much hard work, so much effort goes into this farming thing, and we're trying to show that, and we want you guys to see. So I hope I've done a decent job of showing you what we're doing. And we're excited about it, having one voice. We need your help. We need time. We need financial support. And we'll keep pushing. And I think that's the key. So we did, after the election, we got a heck of a deal on yard signs. Less than half off, I don't know, anyway. But for those of you that have dedicated some time or some financial support to us, and you don't have one of these, we want you to pick one up and put it in front, no matter where you live. I don't care if you live on the guide or on some back road, but we want people to know that you're supporting what we're doing and that you support farming. I think inevitably everybody is connected to it. Everybody shops at the store. So everybody eats. They are all connected somehow. That's about it. That's all I have. I know Daryl, hit me, Daryl.
One question is when either you or some of our representatives are speaking to the Lummies, are you speaking actually to the Indian people, or is most of this transaction is being done by the lawyer? And the other question is, are you doing any work at at the, I don't know if it's possible or not, of Cherry Point to get farm products to leave from Cherry Point. And I'm not talking about coal.
Good questions. For one, the conversations with the tribe, we can't afford to have a group of lawyers to go out. They don't want to have a bunch of lawyers sitting in the room. So the answer is no. We have legal support there. I'm not the one out there talking to them. I've been out there a few times. We're building a relationship with them. That's what I think is super important, that we're building a relationship with them, because it's water quality now, but I guarantee you that it's going to be water rights, water quantity down the road. That's how the conversation started with them. And then this water quality thing came up with the shellfish beds closed in the bay. So we're hoping we can make progress on the quality side, which we are, and then it can be the quantity piece, because I think everybody out there probably irrigates and everybody needs water for the crops. And, you know, we just need to have a good relationship with our neighbors, everybody. And that's what we're working on. Second question, Daryl. Cherry Point. Well, you know, we've talked about that a little internally, but we're so focused. We don't have a lot of horsepower yet, so we're so focused on just what's going on directly related with quality. And then I know that quantity is next. We've had some conversations about that. We'll stay up on it. So there are time contribution and financial contribution forms over there, and I wouldn't be doing the team justice if I didn't bring that up. So would appreciate it if you stop by. If you haven't made a connection with us, do that, and we'll be in touch. And we'll have a rally in the spring. We'd love to see. I think we had about 220 people. Mike Box provided the barbecue at the last one. I thought it was a good event. We actually had a speaker come up from Klamath Falls. If any of you know that area, they've had some real challenges down there, and he shared what they've been through, which is enormously different than what we're dealing with, but just as challenging. So think about that, the next event. Look up our website, and you can see the videos on there. There's some other awesome ones. I didn't have time to show them all, but any other questions? Okay, thanks for your time.
All right. Well, I'd like to get started with our next keynote. We've got a speaker here from Bryant Christie. I think Alan's going to take it away with a better introduction than I can give.
So we actually have a pair of speakers. We have Eric Rosenberg, who is Vice President of Bryant Christie, and we have Matt Lance, who is Vice President of the Global Market Access, Global Access. So these two gentlemen drove up from Seattle to talk to us. They're going to talk about a little bit about the organization, because a lot of folks may not be familiar with Bryant Christie, or we call it BCI, Bryant Christie International, but they are one of, if not the preeminent international trade firms, certainly when it comes to opening up agricultural markets. I don't even know who second place would be. And so we've had a long history with them. I've worked with these guys for over 20 years in various capacities, and they're going to talk about some of the things that they're doing for us, maybe what other folks are doing when it comes to opening up foreign markets for agricultural products with emphasis on berries. Thank you.